Ay, magandang gabi ho mga boss, mga kamping, mga kabunyog. Napanood niyo ho ba yung ni Duterte sa Hong Kong? Oo, marami pa na sumasamba dito, no? Pagyan natin. Salamat sa dumadagdag na subscriber, no?
Tugon ngayon ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa lumabas na balitang may arrest warrant na raw sa kanya ang International Criminal Court. Nakatutok si Dano Tingkungko.
Sa programang pasasalamat kay PRRD with OFW sa Hong Kong, nagsalita si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte kaugnay sa International Criminal Court o ICC. Kaugnay ito sa lumabas na ulat na may inilabas na raw na arrest warrant ang ICC para sa dating Pangulo para sa umano'y mga pagpatay at pang-aabuso sa karapatang pantao sa war on drugs ng kanyang administrasyon. May mga lumabas na espekulasyon online na naroon na raw siya para takasan ng arrest warrant.
Nakita ninyo na patong-patong ang kaso ko, sa totoo lang, baka ang balita ko may warrant daw ako pag... Hindi, totoo.
Putang na, ano kaya sinisigaw nila doon? Nagsasalita lang yung tanga. Ay, tanga yung halimaw. Si Digong. Yeah! Tapa, sobra na to mga friend. Para, ano to, Diyos? Dino-Diyos nila to, no? Tuloy.
Yung sa ICC or something, matagal na akong hinahabol ng mga ano man ang kasalanan ko, ako'y laro yung ito ganit.
Sabi niya, ano na kasalanan ka? Kaya, ito yata ang bangag eh, no, mga boss? Kaya sigawan mo niya, mga putang ng mga tinatawagan ko yung mga anak-anakan ko sa Hong Kong eh. Oo. Pero ito, nung pumasok si Sara Duterte, mamaya pakita ko. Impeach Sara na, sinisigaw eh. Oh.
Ganito na lang.
Ano?
O sa ito. Assuming na totoo talaga yung naririnig ninyo.
Oh.
Bakit ko ginawa yan? Para sa sarili ko?
Demonyo ka kasi.
Para sa pamilya ko?
Ano? Hindi! Ayun yung mga demonyo. Mamaya pakita ko sa inyo kung gaano kabait ito, hype na ito.
Para sa inyo at ang inyong mga anak.
Handa raw siyang magpahuli.
Okay lang, tatanggapin ko yan. Wala tayong magawa eh. Hulihin tayo, kung ikulong tayo. Kaya lang, in the meantime, mag-contribute kayo, bas kayo $5, $10, para paglabas ko sa presuhan, pagawaan ninyo akong monumento katabi ni Rizal. Si Rizal may hawak.
Puta na, kay Rizal, tatabi yung monumento niya. Malapit na maalaaraw eh. Oo. Dapat doon sa tabi ni Barabas, doon ka iitali. Barabas. Ni Hestas ba yun? O si Dimas?
Hawak na libro eh. Akin
Si Attorney Cristina Conti, ang ICC Assistant to Counsel na humaling sa ICC na imbestigahan ng Duterte drug war, sinabing naghihintay pa raw sila ng kumpirmasyon mula sa ICC kung may warrant na nga o naipadala na ito sa ating gobyerno. Sabi ni Presidential Communications Office Secretary Jay Ruiz, handa ang gobyerno sakaling may inilabas ngang arrest warrant para sa dating Pangulo. Paglilinaw ni Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro, wala pang kumpirmasyong may nilabas ng arrest warrant. Pero kapag humingi raw ng tulong ang Interpol, kailangan daw sumunod ng Pilipinas. Wala pa rin impormasyon ng PNP sa ICC warrant at House Quad Committee na nag-iimbestiga sa drug war. Gayon din ang Office of the Solicitor General na ipinaubaya na rin sa DFA ang pagsagot sa issue. Tinawag ni dating Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo na fake news ang pagtakas daw ni Duterte sa Hong Kong. Para sa GMA Integrated News, Dano Tingkungko.
puta na. Pero makapal talaga ang mga mukha nila, di ba? Maski nakakita nila. Ang dami ho nun. At saka dun, sa crowd na to, ang dumalo lang yata, marami daw yung mga miyembro ng Kibulog. Oo. Yun ha.
President Sara Duterte sa talumpati niya sa isang pagtitipon sa Hong Kong. Narito ang report. Sunod-sunod ang tila mga patutsada ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa isang pagtitipon sa Hong Kong. Wala siyang pinangalanan, pero isa riyan ang tungkol daw sa pag-endorso ng kandidato.
Iboboto. Akala ko kasi gusto niya ng mas magandang bayan kasi ang plataforma namin nung tumakbo kami, unity at continuity. Nadala na ako, na-scam na ako, nabudol na ako. Hindi ako mag-endorso ng kandidato. Kasi baka pagkatapos ng eleksyon, sasabihin nyo na naman, na-scam ba yung Inday Sara? Hindi dahil...
Nagpayo rin ang bise, kauday sa pagboto sa darating na eleksyon. Kilatisin daw ang karakter ng tao at piliin yung marunong tumupad sa pangako. Huwag rin daw bumoto batay sa apelyido.
Ako ay produkto din ng political dynasty. Galing ako sa pamilya ng mga politiko.
Kala ko galing sa pamilya ng mga baliw. Ha? Oh, eto mga boss, yung pinanggalingang pamilya daw nito si Sarang Ewan. Meron no ito 2 days ago lang eh. Oo. Nakita ko, sobra pa lang ito si Duterte, no? Wala pa lang pinatawad to. Pagkatapos nito, papapayo ko sa mga sumasamba pa rin dito, kayo po'y magsimba, no? Magsimba po kayo at kayo magdasal at Diyos ko, nahuhulog ho kayo sa impyerno. Oh. Ito.
Rodrigo Duterte is known for his blunt, unfiltered, and often explosive rhetoric, a style that has won him both fierce critics and loyal supporters. Among his most frequent targets, the Catholic Church, an institution deeply woven into the history, culture, and politics of the Philippines. With over 80% of Filipinos
Puta, 80% ng Pilipino, Katoliko. Baka ho dyan sa mga sumisigaw dyan ng Duterte, may Katoliko ho dyan. Ganito ho palawin na lang yan ito, ang mga Katoliko. Ewan ko kung anong klaseng kulto yan. Kaya hindi ako pwede maniwala na itong ganito klaseng uring nila lang, maniniwala kay Kibulog, hindi. Ginamit lang niya palagay ko talaga si Kibulog. Oo. Doon niya ilagay yung kanyang mga nakurakot.
Identifying as Catholic, one might assume that a sitting president would tread carefully when addressing the church. But Duterte did the exact opposite. He launched a series of tirades, insults, and even calls to action against Catholic leaders and doctrines, shocking the nation and the world. His remarks weren't just passing comments, they were often rooted in personal experiences, political battles, and deep-seated grievances. He accused priests of hypocrisy, challenged fundamental church teachings, and even urged Filipinos to abandon their faith. Some saw his words as a necessary wake-up call.
Tangina, no? Tapos sabihin mo, kaibigan niya si Kibulog, may sapak sa ulo, pero ang tinira niya, yung mga Katoliko, no? Pero pag magsalita siya, bahala ng Panginoong Diyos, talagang, ewan, no? Hindi ho to tao.
Call for reform within the clergy, while others viewed them as dangerous attacks that undermined a moral cornerstone of Filipino society. Whatever the case, his statements left an undeniable mark on church-state relations in the Philippines. Today, let's break down the top 10 most controversial tirades of President Duterte against the Catholic Church and the impact they had. Number 10. Threatening to expose bishops' secrets. In one of his most menacing statements, Duterte threatened to expose the alleged sins of Catholic bishops. In January 2019, he warned that he had a list of bishops who were engaged in immoral activities, saying, "If I release this, the Catholic Church will explode." His statement was seen as
Hindi ba si Kibuloy ang sa immoral? Sa dami ng mga pinagbabarukbok niya ng mga minor de edad. At ayon kay Arlen Stone, nakikinabang si Duterte sa mga minoridad ni Quibulog. Tuloy.
It's an intimidation tactic, especially against those clergy members who had been vocal in criticizing his administration. While some wondered if he really had such a list, others saw it as another attempt to discredit the church. The CBCP responded by saying that Duterte was trying to silence his critics by spreading fear and doubt. Number 9. Accusing the church of using donations for corruption. Another common theme in Duterte's tirades is his accusation that the church misuses
Putang ina, no? Sipin mo, naisip niya yung donasyon. Bagay narinig ko na ito eh. Gusto niya pang mag-itax yung simbahan eh. Dahil yun nga, marami raw donasyon. Oo. Putang ina, talagang grabe sa pera to, no? Hindi uto tao. Kaya kayo mga sumasamba rito, magsimba ho kayo sa Quiapo. Maglakad kayo ng palod at humingi kayo ng tawad sa mahal na pong Jesus Nazareno. Oh, baka marami pa sumisigaw dito ng deboto eh. Hindi ko alam ha. Baka. Sa dami ng deboto sa buong Pilipinas. Hindi lang. Sa mga ibang bansa pa, marami pa ho. O baka, diyan ba sa Hong Kong walang deboto? Na mahal na pong Jesus Nazareno? Baka naman mayroong deboto dyan ng Santo Niño o ng Birheng Maria. Ay puta. Magsisi na kayo. Sigaw kayo na sigaw, mga siraulo kayo.
Donations. He claimed that religious institutions collect large sums of money from the faithful, yet many priests and bishops live comfortable lives while ordinary Filipinos.
Saan galing nga rin yung kingdom ni Quibulog. Diba, mga friend? Nagsimula lang si Quibulog sa 14 na miyembro. Oh. Tapos, nung nakilala niya si Digong, meron siyang kingdom. Hektarya lupa, magkaroon ng mga, kung ano-anong mga sasakyan, eroplano, helicopter, napakaganda. Talaga namang grabe. Ha? Naku mga friend, sana matapos na nitong gobyerno ni Marcos to. Oo. Tama si Secretary Llamas. Halimaw itong hayop na to.
Filipinos struggle with poverty. He once challenged church leaders, saying, "If you're really for the poor, sell your land, give it to the people." This attack resonated with some sectors.
Challenge pa raw niya yung mga kung talaga kayo para sa mahirap, ibenta niyo yung mga ari-arian niyo at ipamigay sa mga mahirap. Ba't hindi niya sinabi kay Quibulog yun? O, diba? Hindi talagang may tililing, no? Kung sakali kayang maipit na itong gago na ito at magbaliw-baliwan, makalibre kaya to sa ICC? May talagang may diferensya eh. O, tingnan mo ginawa niya sa Katoliko.
Sectors who had long criticized the church for its wealth and influence. However, church officials defended themselves, saying that much of their resources go to charitable projects, schools, hospitals, and aid for the needy. Despite this, Duterte's words left a lasting impact, making many Filipinos question how the church manages its funds. Number 8. Accusing priests of having affairs. Duterte repeatedly accused Catholic priests of being unfaithful to their vows. He often alleged that many priests had secret families, mistresses, and even children.
Puta, hayop, no? Meron ba siyang katibayan sa mga pinagdadaldal niya? Di ba? Attorney Claire Castro. No? Basta daldal lang siya ng daldal, no? At walang pumipigil nung panahon niya. Oo. No? Si Quibulog, spiritual advisor niya yan. Tangina. Pinasweldo ng gobyerno. Ha? Sigurado may sweldo si Quibulog. May trabaho siya. Malacanang eh. Spiritual advisor. O, di ba?
Despite their vow of celibacy. In one speech, he said all priests have girlfriends. If they don't have a girlfriend, they're gay. This broad generalization outraged many members of the clergy, especially those who have dedicated their lives to their vocation. While cases of priests breaking celibacy do exist, Duterte's blanket statement undermined the credibility of all priests, including those who faithfully serve their congregations. His remarks also fueled distrust among ordinary Catholics, making them question the integrity of their spiritual leaders. Number 7. Calling saints drunkards and useless. Duterte also mocked Catholic saints, claiming that they were drunkards and useless figures who should not be venerated. In December 2018, during a speech in Malacanang, he
Tayo na, pati santo, no? Yung mga nagiging santo. Oh. Lahat kaya, mga walang kwentang tao. Talagang magaling to, si Digong. Oo. Ngayon lang ho tayo nagkaroon ng ganitong presidente, no? Pero hanggang ngayon, sinasamba pa rin ng mga zombie. Ha? Magsalita, maski ano lang sabihin, magsalita lang. Putang ina. Ano ito? Ano nangyari sa Pilipinas, no, mga friend? Lord.
He questioned why Filipinos prayed to saints instead of directly to God. He sarcastically said, "Who are these saints? They were just drunkards, womanizers. Why would I listen to them?" His statement was a direct challenge to one of the most deeply held Catholic traditions.
Why would I listen to them? Kaya imposible hong to, naniniwala kay Kibulog. Di ba? Itong vlog na to, nagpapatunay lang nito na si Kibulog, talagang ginamit lang ni Duterte. Diba? Dahil kung hindi siya tatagal sa Davao. Diba? Kaya si Kibulog, wala anak. Hindi siya pwede mag-asawa. Basta doon lang siya, nandun siya sa palasyo na diba? Basta sasambahin niya lang si Digong. Tuloy. At tuloy-tuloy siya sa panloloko dun sa mga tanga. Tuloy.
The veneration of saints. For many Filipinos, saints are role models of faith, intercessors who inspire devotion. By mocking them, Duterte further widened the gap between himself and the church. However, some of his supporters agreed, saying that Filipinos were too focused on religious icons instead of developing a personal relationship with God. Number 6. Calling God stupid. Perhaps Duterte's most theologically explosive remark came in June 2018, when he called God stupid. He ridiculed the story of Adam and Eve, questioning why God would create humans only to let them fall into sin. He said, "Who is this stupid God? You created something perfect and then you think of an event that would tempt and destroy the quality of your work." This statement deeply offended many religious Filipino.
Puta na, salita ba ng mga presidente? Salita ba ng presidente yan? Sa buong mundo, walang nagsalita sigurong ganitong klaseng tao, no? Si Villanueva na.
Even some of Duterte's supporters found it difficult to defend his words. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, CBCP, and other religious leaders condemned his remarks, calling them blasphemous. But Duterte stood by his statement, saying he was not attacking Christianity itself, just the doctrines that made no sense to him. Number 5. Encouraging Filipinos to leave the church. In November 2018, Duterte urged Filipinos to stop attending Mass and leave the Catholic Church altogether. He suggested that instead of
Dapat magmiyembro kay Kibulog, anong gusto nito? Ha?
going to church, people should build their own chapels at home and worship in private. He also mocked the concept of confession, saying that priests themselves were sinners, so they had no right to absolve others of their sins. This attack on Catholic practices was one of his most aggressive. He questioned long-held doctrines and traditions, arguing that they were outdated and irrelevant in modern society. While some Filipinos dismissed his comments as just another one of his anti-church rants, others were genuinely influenced by his words, with some even claiming that they had stopped going to church because of him. Number 4. Personal trauma, allegations of abuse. Duterte has often linked his antagonism toward the church to his own childhood experiences. He claimed that as a young student at Ateneo de Davao, a Jesuit-run school, he was sexually abused by a priest. He recounted
Sinexually abuse daw siya ng pare. Putang. Invento to, mga friend. Asan ang nasabi nga ni Atty. Claire Castro na ebidensya. Oo, di ba? Napakawala namang, kung totoo itong sinasabi itong halimaw nito, napakawala namang taste ng pare. Para sexually abuse siya. Bakit? Bakla, ibig sabihin, bakla yung pare, ganon. Pero si Kibulog, perfect sa kanya. Di ba?
How a priest would fondle him and other classmates, a traumatic experience that left him with deep resentment toward the clergy. This revelation complicated the discussion. While some people sympathized with him, others criticized him for using his personal trauma to justify his sweeping attacks against the entire Catholic Church. Many pointed out that while cases of abuse within the clergy were real and must be addressed, not all priests were guilty. Nonetheless, Duterte's personal experience became one of the key reasons why he remained unapologetic in his tirades against the church. Number 3. Kill those useless bishops. In December 28,
Putang na, pati pala bishop, ano, pinapapatay niya, no? Kill those useless bishop, ano? Putang na, gago talaga.
Duterte made one of his most alarming statements against the Catholic Church. In a speech, he called bishops useless fools and went as far as to say, kill them. Those bishops, kill them. They are good for nothing. His remark, though likely exaggerated, sent shockwaves throughout the religious community, raising concerns for the safety of church leaders who were vocal critics of his administration. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, CBCP, responded with a strong condemnation, saying that Duterte's words could encourage violence against clergy members. Despite the outrage, Duterte did not issue a formal apology. Instead, he continued his verbal attacks on religious figures, arguing that the church had long used its influence for political and financial gain. Number 2. Accusations of hypocrisy. Throughout his presidency, Duterte frequently labeled the Catholic Church as the most hypocritical institution in the country.
Grabe, no?
He accused bishops and priests of preaching morality while engaging in corrupt and immoral activities themselves. He often brought up cases of sexual abuse within the clergy, corruption in church-run institutions, and the extravagant lifestyles of some religious leaders. His harshest criticisms came when the church opened
Extravagant lifestyle, eh. Sikibulog yun. Di ba, mga boss? Wala talaga. O, yung mga naniniwala rito, magsisi na po kayo, baka sa impyerno pa kayo pulutin. Sasama kayo nito. O, di ba, sa impyerno raw siya pupunta. O, gamitin niyo yung utak niyo. Binigyan kayo ng utak ng Panginoon, hindi para sumamba dito sa demonyo.
openly opposed his bloody war on drugs, which resulted in thousands of extrajudicial killings. Several bishops and priests denounced the administration's policies, leading Duterte to retaliate with even more attacks. He claimed that many clergy members were guilty of their own sins, from sexual abuse to corruption, implying that they had no moral authority to criticize him. While some saw his tirades as offensive, others believed he was exposing real issues that needed reform within the church. Number 1. Pope, you son of a. One of Duterte's first major controversies involving the Catholic Church happened even before he was president. In November 2015,
Nung nangangampanya pa lang to, mga pren, ha? Nung minura niya yung Pope. Oo. Pero, binoto pa rin, ano? Anong klase yung mga taong naniwala dito, puta? Pati Pope, minura niya, oh.
during a speech announcing his presidential candidacy, Duterte recounted how he had been stuck in heavy traffic for hours during Pope Francis' visit to Manila. In his frustration, he blurted out, "Pope, you son of a b, go home. Do not visit us again." The comment shocked many Filipinos, as insulting the Pope was unheard of in a predominantly Catholic country. The backlash was immediate. Even some of Duterte's allies were taken aback. However, instead of backing down, he defended his statement, saying his frustration was aimed at the poor traffic management rather than the Pope himself. Days later, he sent a letter of apology to the Vatican, explaining his remarks. Interestingly, despite the controversy, his popularity did not wane. Many saw his candid approach as a sign that he was willing to speak the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it was. Duterte's verbal assaults on the Catholic Church were unprecedented in Philippine history. No other president had attacked the faith so openly and aggressively. His words challenged the influence of the
Talagang naiiba siya, di ba? At hanggang ngayon naman, sinasamba siya ng mga baliw.
Church, caused divisions among the faithful, and made some Filipinos reconsider their relationship with religion. But despite his relentless tirades, the Catholic Church remained strong.
Siyempre,
In fact, many bishops, priests, and lay leaders took Duterte's attacks as a call to renew their mission, pushing for reforms within the church while continuing to speak out for justice, human rights, and the dignity of every person. The faith of the Filipino people has withstood many challenges throughout history, and Duterte's presidency was just one of them. In the end, the church continues to stand firm in its mission to be a voice of truth, a refuge for the oppressed, and a guide for the faithful. And that wraps up our deep dive into Duterte's most controversial tirades against the Catholic Church. What do you think? Did his words expose real issues, or were they unwarranted attacks against an institution that has shaped our nation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the history of the church and its role in society, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kasasayan at Simbahan. See you in the next episode.
Yun lang ho yun mga boss, no? Grabe, no? Pero yun nga, ICC na lang siguro talagang pag-asa dito sa Pilipinas. Hindi ho nila mahipo yan. Oo. Basta yun, bahala ng Panginoon Diyos. Kidigong, di ba mga boss? God moves in a very mysterious way, di ba? Jeff Ramos na, shout out. Wilfredo Pampilon, shout out. Nako, pasensya na kayo. Bukas na ho tayo mag-shout out mga boss. Oo, na hindi ko maintindihan tong cellphone ko eh. Pagdating na ako ni Nilo. Oo. Hindi ko makuha eh. Iba yung lumabas na ano eh. Pagdating ko ni Nilo mga friend, no. Bukas na ho, at saka medyo gabi na rin. Oo mga boss. Shout out na lang ho sa inyo lahat mga friend. Hanggang bukas po muli. Oo mga boss. Oo. Ano nangyari dito? Bali na. God bless na lang po. Shout out, Tia Deli. Jane Labay na, shout out my friend. Michelle Edwin, shout out. Librado Ludovico. Kalat ni Baya, shout out. Pastor Jun Lagon, shout out. Jeff Ramos na. At sa lahat po na subscriber, pasensya ko, talagang hindi ko makaintindihan yung cellphone. No? So, totoo lang. Gusto kong basahin yung mga comments yung kahapon. Pero baka bukas o maaga tayo ng mga boss. Pasensya na po. God bless. Ipayo ko na lang ho, no, mga friend. Yun hong mga hanggang ngayon naniniwala pa sa hilimaw. Magdasal po kayo. Hindi pa huli ang lahat sa inyo. Oo. At yun ho, yung mga nakagrupo ho doon sa mga kandidato nakasama nitong si Kibulog at saka nitong kanyang amo, huwag nyo na hong iboboto. Oo, marami hong pwedeng ibotong mapagkakatiwalaan na hindi ho miyembro nitong gabi na nga ni Secretary Lolo Llamas, mga halimaw. Magandang gabi po mga boss.